people seeing
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to
diving,
cut you off.
diving, diving for grass lunging.
Ah, okay. So we're here to admire, not necessarily correct.
Oh, I don't know. I'm curious for you. We really haven't looked at my guys in a while, and
Yeah.
I haven't been riding them much. But just to see if you see some changes, with not being ridden, being long lined or ground driven, or this type of lunging that, they dive for grass lunging is what I call it.
Yeah. And I always think, God bless them, if they can get a bite on to go, then have at it.
Yeah.
So,
Cally, it took her forever. I think that's her that you have pulled up. She's just, I would say this year, finally figuring out how to walk and eat at the same time.
that's
Otherwise, she would
hilarious.
just slam on the brakes and eat and then jump forward and slam on the brakes. But I think she's figured it out.
Yeah, the little paws. Yeah, so just not getting in a fight with her head is looking
Yeah,
good.
that's huge.
Yeah, and then let
I've
me hit,
been leaving her head completely alone.
yeah. And bumping her up to trot, like when the stopping gets too frequent, that
Yeah,
little
that's what
bit,
I did.
yeah, that
Yeah.
overcorrection really helps them rethink how much energy they want to put into the grass diving. And you're not punishing, you're just kind of making it a little more work than it's worth.
Yeah. But she started to like, I don't know if we'll be able to see it with this video, but I think her trot looks pretty darn good. She's like looking for this balance, like, what do I do with this head and neck thing?
Yeah, yeah, trying to
What's, what's,
get our
can I
little
get
box
grass
out of
and
the way.
trot? Oh, that's different.
Yeah. No, her body looks as filled out and soft as
Doesn't
I've
she
ever
look
seen it.
awesome?
She looks really good.
And she's
And
22
then
now.
just keep like pushing the hindquarters, pushing the hindquarters. But she's really found some comfort through her neck. And that
Yeah,
was,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah, she's actually not stressed about it anymore. She's actually like, oh, I could play with this and play with that kind of thing.
yeah, but look at how much more muscle she has on her hindquarter now. That's as
Yeah,
filled out and round as I've ever seen her hindquarter.
yeah,
And even around her back, that's kind of as healthy of back development as I've also ever seen. So, like what we talked about before, when that origin of stability starts to come from the back and hindquarters, the neck and shoulders can free up.
yeah. And just to let everybody know, this has been long lining,
Only long lining, not
long
riding.
lining, long lining, long lining, because I think I talked to you about it, but I don't know if we've talked on recorded stuff about it. She would stop and park out, and I thought we were getting good halts when I was riding her. But when I long lined her and looked at it, I went, oh my God, what is that? So I went
Mm.
back to long lining her for quite some time on a
Mm,
very small circle with a lot of change in directions.
excellent.
Because every time she'd halt, she'd go into park and arch her back. So
And I still haven't figured out why
I
that
don't know
gives
why.
horses relief, but horses that have been really stuck in that posture of extension, and it's been either extreme or chronic, um, they find relief
I
parking
know, and
out.
it's just
And
drives.
I don't get it. Like I
I
can't
don't
figure
either.
out what's going on inside that they're doing that. Hang on, let me replay that.
It's only like 3 minutes long.
Oh, wait, this is somebody else's video.
Yeah, that's somebody else.
Oh,
It's not
hang on.
mine. I don't have
That's not
anything
your
that young.
video. Hang on, I'm losing controls over my controls. All right, so I will have to pull that one up again. I don't want that. I do want this. Let me try this one.
And that's Finer Things.
Okay, So we can go back and look at Cally again if we want to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
more
I
about
wanted to
that.
kind of
But
play and compare them to their body types, the way they move different from each other.
yeah, for some reason my oh, I see, it's sending me a message. That was why I can't reach my, that kind of screws it up a little bit, but that might put us in a better place. Let me try to play it from here. See how
Okay.
that works. And move us down here. Whoops, because we were blocking the view anyways. Let's see. So this is Finer Things, and she's a little bit more obsessive with the grass even than
Oh
Cally.
yeah. Yeah. She's 24 this year.
Wow. I mean, they look
Yeah,
fantastic
believe it
for
or
their
not.
age. Absolutely.
I think so too. At their age, they're obviously get plenty of grass, which I've got a track system set up at that white
Hmm.
electric fence is a track system that they're on, so they're not muzzled.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this
Nice,
track
nice,
system, it makes
nice.
them move and move and move so they keep their weight down.
Hmm. No, both of your horses, like, it's not what you would call fancy, but it's very comfortable looking, efficient looking, other
Hmm.
than the grass diving. Like, even with the grass driving, Finer Things is kind of keeping her rhythm a little bit better than Cally was. Like, even when she goes to get a bite, she
She's
doesn't
really
really.
good at grass diving at the trot.
Yeah.
Callie hasn't figured that one out yet.
Yeah. And just, pushing her, I go, that's just the more often they do that, the more calories they're burning. So I
Mhm.
go, knock yourself out as long as you don't, stop and take a coffee break. But that deep stretch for Finer Things is huge. Like her
Mhm.
kind of distortedly dragon shaped neck.
Yeah, dragon shaped.
Yeah, sea serpent, dragon shaped. It was
Yeah,
like
very
it,
weird. And there she tries to drag me out. And
yeah, that's just another little tactic.
yes, I'm
So
leaving. And I was like, no, you're not.
yeah.
Just go the other direction. But
Yep.
I am just in a halter, so
Yeah, and what you can do too, even instead of trying to hold and push, is if you go towards and come up behind the tail with the whip, you can drift out, you know what I mean?
okay, I see
And
what you're saying.
not
Just more work
even,
for me.
it's more work for you to try to hold that line,
Yeah,
where you can, if she does that, go towards the tail, get the whip in position and send her forward from wherever she is, and just
right.
kind of keep sending her forward from the tail and let her work out uh what you're doing. But yeah, any questions you had in particular? Because I mean, they're both moving really nicely with zero support. And the grass diving, I go, it just becomes kind of funny. But both of them are more filled out through the hindquarter and the barrel. Both of them are consistently lengthening their neck, whether they're grass diving or not grass diving. That lengthening of the neck is pretty consistent with both of them, which tells you, and you can see if she wasn't stable in her back and hindquarter, she would basically fall on her face doing what she's doing.
Yeah, that I agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's pretty funny.
She is. She cracks. Well, I did this again today because this is going to be the last halfway decent day for a week to get any movement because of the heat. So
Mm.
I will just long line them the rest of the week.
Yeah, but it's like both of them are showing what I would call a self-propelled, self-controlled rhythm in the walk and the trot, despite the grass diving.
Okay.
Despite the grass diving. So I go, the grass diving is a little bit inefficient. It's going to make them work harder than they need to, but obviously they are highly motivated. And so it's like just let them exhaust that behavior. As long as they're not getting to walk or halt, have at it. No big deal.
Right.
right?
Yeah, I didn't think to do canter the day I did these videos, but I have been playing with canter a little bit, and they seem better, but still their downward transitions still aren't that great. They're kind of abrupt and
Mm-hmm.
sticky. But yeah, I
Well,
think she looks pretty good.
one of the ways you can improve your downward transitions, ironically, is when she goes grass diving, let her stop. Because
Oh,
with her head,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, there's kind of a out of the box path of least
Yeah, I
resistance
guess
idea for
so.
you, but it actually would teach them to stop underneath themselves, right? And
Okay.
we get frustrated because we
Very.
label it as a problem. But I go, it might benefit her balance as well as really
Okay.
make things harder, more effort than they're worth, is when she dives for grass, refrain from correcting until after she halts.
Okay. And then
And then when you send her
after she halts,
forward,
ask her to go back to trot.
yeah, go back to trot.
Okay.
So she's gonna go trot, take a bite, walk, halt while she's eating grass.
Okay. So let her
And
do that
and
instead
let her
of
if
pushing her
you
forward.
right, so if you let her do that, just watch and be really observant how she uses her hindquarter to halt instead of going upside down, instead of shortening the neck.
Okay.
Because the grass is kind of working in your favor if that is an issue for any horse. The grass diving sort of helps them make that physical change by accident, by happy accident. But I go, why
Okay.
not? Why not use that?
Well, I've got lots of grass right now, huh? So
Yeah. And
use it to
and
my advantage.
use it to your advantage. Like the one thing our horses teach us is how to be slightly smarter than a horse.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. It takes us a while to get there.
Takes us humans a while to get it.
It does. But if we can sort of take, it's so interesting what shows up on YouTube. Oh wait, I might have lost it. But when you understand the mechanics, it's going to play an ad. Let me see if I can skip it.
Oh, I want to hit skip.
I know I wait for it to go down. 3, 2, 1. Um, there we go. Oh, now how did I get this on? I'm so sorry. That is one
Oh,
unhappy
I'm not riding
horse.
that. What's wrong with that guy?
So we'll just stop. Let me get out of this. But uh compared to what we're looking at with your horses, I go, that to me is just ugly. That is an unhappy horse. I don't care how you slice it or dice it. I just go, we do not need to go there. Nobody needs to go there unless it's like if it
Not
was a
anymore.
surprise, if it was an unplanned kind of thing that was temporary, but that rider looks like he wants to be on at least 8 seconds, if not more.
Blech.
And I think this was Cally.
Yeah, that's Callie's.
So
I think I've seen the most improvement with Callie because she's actually not going into extension. She's actually like playing with, well, what could I do different? Instead
yeah.
of arching my back and sticking my head up in the air.
And for
She's
her,
actually,
having neck arthritis, it would be more
yeah.
important to her to really find comfort. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Let me make this bigger. Try to get out of the way here. If you kind of compare her hindquarters to Finer Things, she's even as much as Finer Things has stabilized and as much as Cally has suppled, both of them kind of met halfway.
Yeah.
Cally looks more in control. She doesn't look as engaged, but she looks more in control.
She's really playing with control because I can see that her hind end is not as engaged, but
Hmm.
she's really seeking something.
She's finding that, like I said, being able to find more and more length through her neck. Now that stop, let me back it up just a little bit. She's getting to feel in control through her back and hind quarter. So she
Hmm.
keeps exploring more and more length through the neck. And let's look at how she stops. Yeah, see, that was kind of beneficial. It happened quickly, but
Hmm.
let's go back and look at that just a second. Because here she comes around and she works her way into halt pretty quick when she's eating grass. So
Yeah,
there's the
she likes to
length,
do that. Yeah.
length,
Yeah, there
length,
she gets
length,
into
length.
length. Yep.
And then the halt, she's in length during the halt. Like with both of your
Not bad
horses,
for her.
you could take advantage of that because the downward transitions have been the boogaboo sending them back into extension. So, you
Yeah.
know, maybe God sent you some grass for a reason, huh? Huh? Like you could really, like there, maybe if you're a tiny bit slower with the whip, and if
Okay.
you actually wait, not a long halt, but just all 4 feet pausing, there's also a delicate opportunity for them to push forward while the neck is still long. So when you get a downward transition because she wants her nose in the grass, and you get a slow upward transition without her shortening the neck, you're really building the engagement and starting to encourage more flexion of the spine.
Okay.
So, like there, if you come up and gently tap the hind legs and push her forward, yeah. And she's mostly doing it herself.
She's getting
But
better at it, not going into extension and raising her head.
yeah,
As long as I don't aggressively go towards her, I have to kind of sneak up
yeah.
behind her.
No, and play with the timing and the feel of it, really
Okay.
encouraging the full lengthening of the neck, allowing it in a pause. So, like there, I would go closer behind her and
Okay.
lightly sort of tap with the whip, not hard, but a light physical touch, sort of like saying, move forward from here where the whip touches.
Ah, okay, with that intention.
That
Okay.
in that intention of saying, move forward from here
Okay.
and leave the neck out of it. And then you may give her a few steps of walk and then continue pushing, but maybe give her a quarter, a half, a 3/4 lapped time to get into the trot. Again, from here, Callie, push from here,
Okay. Push from here.
and then increase the speed from here. Oh my God. Okay, hang on. Let me close this. I don't know why it's doing this. Usually it gives
I
me a
don't either.
chance to go back, and I've got too many controls here going on. And it's some random horse person coming up.
It
Sorry, you
is.
guys. If sorry for playing your video, didn't mean to. uh,
You made it public.
it is public. That's true. It is public.
Yeah.
So let's see. So do you want to look at Callie again, or I'm back on Finer Things?
Either one. I like watching them over and over again.
Okay.
I'm interested when we look at finer things because with her trot, when you try to ride it, it's just her back goes up and down so much. Like
Well,
I said, I haven't ridden them in quite some time, and I'm
but Finer Things used to blow people away with her suspension. It was like she was on pogo sticks, the way she
yes,
trotted. And everybody thought,
yes,
wow,
that,
she has
yes,
incredible movement because she had so much leg action.
right.
She has half that sort of leg action now. You see that? Like
Okay, that's what
the
I needed to hear somebody else see her to say, has it changed?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Number one, her neck used to be short and tight, and you would
Oh.
see she looked like she was going over raised ground poles on flat ground. That's how she trotted.
Mm-hmm.
It was that much leg action. And everybody was like, wow, wow, wow. Now she actually looks grounded. Her feet look connected to the ground instead of sort of barely touching the ground.
Ah, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she was so tight through her back and neck. It was like this sort of upward pull of the muscles never let her
Mm.
get any traction with her feet. But it was extreme to look at. And so everybody's like, wow, wow, wow. To
Yeah,
me,
but hard to ride. It was awful to ride.
but if you look at her legs when she's going, she still has plenty of flexion through the joints, through the leg
Right.
joints. They're bendy, right? But they're more equal now. It's not, she extends and flexes and extends and flexes, and you see the leg going through that joint range of motion. She knows exactly how to push your buttons too.
Oh yeah, she's good.
She
She's good.
So what I would do with her is like we were just talking about with Cally, because Finer Things gets to a point where she pulls sideways.
She wants to, yeah, she will drag me. Yeah.
So what that is her kind of insisting and inviting you into the tug of war.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the way you remedy the tug of war is you don't pull. And we have
Okay.
to literally tell ourselves and put a sticky note on your nose that when she pulls on you, you move towards her.
Okay.
And you're going to move towards the tail. You're going to come up
Towards the
behind
tail.
her. And if she tries to turn and face you, just wave the whip around until she goes
Okay.
somewhere. But like every time she goes to dive, she also pulls outward.
Yeah, she does.
Nope, didn't get it. Okay, stop this. Stop, 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 stop. We don't want to critique anybody else's videos, just the ones we're looking for.
A nice baby.
Okay, so what were we doing? Do you want to see Finer Things or?
Either one, whatever you want to talk about. So, how about doing the lunging with finer
Oh,
things
whoops.
that I think we did this before. You kind of go in a straight line and then I stop and she turns. Does
Well,
that
I
make
think that's
sense?
still going to set you up for the tug of war.
Tug of war, anyway. Okay.
What I would do is a couple of
There's her
things.
pulling away from me. That's her face.
Yeah, towards the video camera. Yeah, yeah. So can you see it okay if we leave it as a small screen?
Yeah.
Okay, let me move us over here, try to block whatever's there. And that way, hopefully I can replay it before it goes somewhere else. So here at the
She
walk,
especially does it going to the left, the pulling part.
and I think it's her losing her balance. I
I
wouldn't
think you're
take it
right. I
personally.
agree.
Yeah. So at the walk, let's go back a little bit. I got to make it bigger or I got to get my glasses. Hang on.
Oh, darn.
Okay. All right. So let's put us up here. Let's go back a little further and let's look at how she is in the walk. So the grass eating and moving is to this mare's advantage,
Right.
right? Now there where she tugs. So already the
Hmm.
pulling thing, you're sending her forward, which is good, but you're also giving her resistance on the line, which is what becomes the focus of the conversation.
Yeah.
So there where she pulls on you, go up behind her with your body. Don't try
Okay.
to stay still and don't try to pull the line. Just move towards her, which will lighten the pressure on the line. She may drift, but you keep
Yeah,
drifting
there's her
with her.
drift. That's what she does going to the left.
Yeah. So eventually she's going to drift into a fence line and go forward.
Okay. Just let her
I
do
go,
it.
yeah. But if you keep going towards rather than pulling on the head, she has to rebalance,
Okay.
right? And right now she gets you into a little bit of the tug of war game because when she loses her balance and pulls out, you're there holding her,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
But then if she has a little bit of a mental upset or a little more determination to eat grass, it turns into an argument rather than a
Yeah, it
quick
does.
rebalance. So,
There I actually went with her when she
yeah,
was dragging me.
that's exactly. She will completely quit pulling if you don't enter the pulling contest.
Okay.
So every time she pulls on you, you go, I need to go
Yeah,
closer.
I did it. She wanted to
Hmm.
go out of the arena. She was going to drag me out.
So even there, if she drifts a little sideways, keep coming up behind her and push her
Okay.
forward. So wherever you put your body is blocking a direction and also getting you in position to say, hind legs from here, push.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I got to do it with both of them. I have to have the intention of that's what I'm not just asking them to go forward, but to go forward from here.
Hmm. And that'll
Okay.
keep putting your body in the right place and it'll get you off the line. Because what you're going to do is gently take your center and the tip of the whip towards the hind legs in order to say from here. And pretty
Okay.
soon, just looking at the tail will do the job. But at first, instead of tugging on the line, move towards the tail and start setting up the whip to give her a light tap.
Okay.
Because I think it's almost like she's not pulling on you maliciously. She's losing her balance and she's falling sideways.
She
And
falls out.
so,
Yeah.
and so it's almost a distraction to her balance when you use the line to balance the head. And then
Okay.
it takes her a few strides to get her hindquarters back. It's not wrong, but if it's kind of perpetuating and the grass is now sort of becoming part of, oh, it worked. I have to be quicker. Um, like there, if she's moving, you could like there where she pulls, go out, which is going to make the circle bigger. So
Bigger. Okay.
you're going to let her drift out, but you're going to keep asking for forward.
From the
You're
hind end.
Yeah, you're going to say push
Okay.
from here to rebalance, push from here to rebalance. Rather than trying to rebalance the front end with the line, you're just going to keep gently moving the hindquarters forward. And I think the other thing that would get her thinking more is like Cally, let her wind down from trot to walk to halt, unless she drifts sideways, then send her forward.
Okay.
And let her briefly halt with her nose in the grass. Like use it to your advantage because what you'll probably see is her barrel stabilizes. That's where she's still
Okay.
the loosest.
Right. That's all the movement still.
Hmm. The
Yeah.
hindquarter is strong enough and engaged enough to support more stability through her barrel,
Okay.
but it's like, and maybe it's her mind, maybe it's the little bit of instability, don't know, don't care why, but the desire she has to eat grass, you could really use to your advantage for her physical coordination.
Okay.
And it may take the neurosis out of the deal
Yeah, that it's pretty
because she's
big
neurotic. Like,
disagreements.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh, she is. She's terrible.
Callie takes advantage, but she gets that food neurosis going.
Yeah, she does.
And so I would look at it as 10 million transitions between halt, walk, trot, walk, halt.
So
No. long duration of anything. It's just going to
Okay, so
be
when she's at halt, don't stay there long. Do
mm-mm.
you want me to go to walk or try for trot right away?
Same thing as Cally. Start with the energy for the walk, and if
Okay.
she doesn't resort into extension, go up to trot.
Okay, so just watch and see. All right.
Because the greatest benefit you're going to get, and this is where you can go out and thank your grass for being so helpful, that they're going to learn to make upward and downward transitions with the muscles of the top line in full length. That means they're working in eccentric contraction, which is going to
Okay.
strengthen them up a lot. And whether it's their mind or whatever on the grass, I go, you still have the same benefit if you kind of play with that to your advantage. Or it's really to her advantage too. I'm not saying it's just your advantage, but it's
Right.
like you can use her desire to put her nose in the grass while you focus on the use of the back and hindquarter. You're still getting that lengthening, that posture. And so it's possible that she could figure out, oh, I did it again, that she could figure out, oh, that's a better way to do it in general. And what I find is like the neurotic eating always goes hand in hand with the physical instability.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was just running through my mind that Callie seems to be mentally more engaged in the activity. You know what I mean? She's kind of like, all right, I'm thinking about this. How could I do this better? Where Finer Things is not.
It's
Y-
not that she's not engaged.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
it's
just saying her mind is not. She's just like, I gotta eat, I gotta eat, I gotta eat.
I don't even know that it's that. So it's like if you take two very different learners, well, let's just look at them and say, like I would say Callie is much more of an extrovert and Finer Things is actually an introvert.
Interesting.
And so Callie, kind of what you see is what you get with Callie.
Well, that's true.
And whether that is I'm happy doing this or I am massively unhappy doing this, what you see is
Hmm.
what you get. She lets you know her opinion. Where the reason I'm calling Finer Things more of an introvert personality is because she does her very best to keep the rider happy at the same time that she does the very least amount of effort. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that would describe her pretty well.
Yeah. And so she kind of is thinking, even though it appears like she's not thinking. The grass diving neurosis like this is her seeking stability, safety, comfort, feeling okay. And it kind of goes hand in hand with that little bit of looseness she has in her body
Her back.
compared to Callie. And stability, she was a hypermobile horse. She's Finer Things was a definition of hypermobile.
I agree that they're like total opposites.
Yes. And so that hypermobility, like that was such an interesting thing Dr. Hancock brought up was her daughter who's hypermobile in ballet has to do twice the core strengthening work to even get into point shoes as another body, girls same age, same build, same age, both young girls, but another body that isn't quite as hypermobile is safer to put on point shoes before a hypermobile body is.
Right, that
And
makes total
that's
sense.
and so I think Finer Things protects herself. And I think a lot of warm bloods do this, and that's why they get that reputation being called dumb bloods, is
Mm,
I think one of the defensive actions that she's expressing, and most unstable horses express this, is it's like they can't focus on one thing.
yeah,
And I think it's a defensive mental strategy.
and interesting.
Oh, at least we got you this time.
Yeah,
So
those are all my
I
videos.
know. Still not the video we wanted.
That's from a year or two ago, I
So
think.
let's just play it really quick because this
Yeah, let's
is
make a compare. I don't know what I'm doing, who I'm on. I think it's
I
Finer
I
Things.
know it's kind of dark. It looks like Finer Things. So there, yeah,
Yeah,
it must be.
she's
There's
pretty.
the grass diving.
Oh, the grass diver.
Yeah.
It's
But
very hard to ride.
yeah, it is hard to ride. But if you look at it as one, maybe consider 1/10 of the problem is a habit. I go,
Hmm.
to me, that's 1/10. Yes, it's true. I can't say it's untrue that this can just become a habit. But I go, what's motivating the perpetuation of this habit? Or what motivated it in the first place? Because she's not starving to death,
Obviously not.
right? So I go, green grass, pretty sweet, pretty tempting. But even here, like that's the solution, whether it's the lunge line or the riding, what you just
Okay.
did. You didn't mess with the head. You
No, I
supported the
stay out of her
stability.
face.
Hmm. And then I think if we looked at this a while ago, you're letting her make the error because she cannot stop like that without grass.
Right.
So you could allow the full halt, go back to the walk. That time you pushed her up to trot. You can play with all the different sort of transitions up and down, steering left and right, circle straight lines, or not steering, but you're not telling her she can't do it. You're going to
Right.
let her arrive. And I always find, because Marianne's horse, Lexi, was the same way, like
Ah.
committed grass diver. That to the point that Marianne just said, I can't ride her on grass. We have to be in the arena. I
Hmm.
just can't do it. So I rode her on the grass, and every time she would grass dive, I would ask her to trot, and the head pops up and we trot. Then she
Mm.
got good at eating while trotting. But then she got neurotic because I was always making the same correction, and she actually got
Right.
dangerous about it. Like she was slamming her
Going
head down
down. Yeah.
at
Callie
the
does
trot.
that when I'm on her, so I don't play this game when I'm on Callie.
No, and what I found really worked is if it's kind of a neurotic eating and the same sort of go forward correction starts to make things worse, then you need the transitions up and down.
And down. Okay.
You need, because we start to almost get a little bit of like punishment in our heads
Yeah.
that the grass diving is useless, wrong, and it's a bad habit. And I go, well, let's look at it from the other side of the lens. You can't get her to halt with her neck long. You
Right.
can't
Not
get
with.
that.
Right.
You can't get that done. You can't get any downward transitions with her neck long using her back and hindquarter correctly unless there's grass.
Right.
So I go, the grass is just the training wheels for the balance. And when I started to play with all the way halt, walk, trot, walk, halt, ignoring the grass eating on the way, but using it to my advantage, all of my forward aids got lighter and slower, and Lexi relaxed. And at the very same time, the back and hindquarters were increasing in stability. The grass diving was decreasing in frequency. Those two things correlated, and they correlate not just on Lexi, but on this kind of horse over and over and over. And she's different than Callie. It's not quite the same.
Right.
She's like that nervousness about it and her pulling you sideways and her getting more adamant. The more you correct her, the worse she gets.
She gets up into an excitatory phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's telling you that's the introverted part of it.
Mm.
That she is feeling more stress than Callie, but you don't see that it's more stress until you start correcting it a lot.
Yeah. And then she just gets pissy.
Yeah.
Finer Things does. She just get gnarly
Yeah.
and pins her ears and
So you're
yeah.
still going to correct, but you're going to, you want every transition to halt. You want to go slowly into the walk transition, slowly but surely into the trot transition, then let her break the trot, let her break the walk, once she's halted on her own as her own choice, then you begin the upwards again slowly.
Okay.
And that should reduce a lot of the pulling contest kind of thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you see how bouncy her trot still is a year ago.
That was a year ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was again, that's the instability that she's been
Mm-hmm.
struggling with.
And I think comparing it to a year ago, her hind end from now looks a lot more stable than it did there.
Yeah, because even here, when she is engaging like there, it still looks pretty stiff and pretty
Yeah.
awkward for
Mm-hmm.
her to use the hind legs. And then I think you trot her again. We'll have a little quick look at the trot. Get the flies off.
Yeah, the bugs are pretty bad. Those big horse flies.
Yeah, so let me go back. Let me try to keep this video and go back to, I think it was this one.
Yeah, that's FT.
Oh, she's giving the stink eye to the camera at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
funny.
her answer to everything.
A little bit of a delay. I think my Wi-Fi is slow. Yeah, so she just doesn't look as stiff even in the walk.
Okay.
And she definitely looks more stable. See if I can make it full screen. Okay, now nothing's working. Never mind.
No
We're
buttons are
just
working.
nothing's working. So what do you see in this video compared to what we just looked at with her under saddle? Like I just see so much more steadiness in her
Yeah, I
movement,
want to say like and both of my horses, it's like a tempo,
a rhythm.
rhythm. I don't know what
Hmm.
else to call it. Does that make sense?
What the rhythm is when you balance the forces of mobility with stability. If you balance
Mm,
the forces of braking with pushing equally, that's what creates the rhythm, the tempo.
hmm
So if they are not balanced in that use of their body, they're always either a little bit lethargic or a little bit rushing and mostly
hmm
upside down. And
And
so,
that's a huge point because if you watch them now, they sort of are seeking a consistent trot,
yeah,
and not speeding up and not slowing down, but seeking something very consistent.
and comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're both seeking that.
yes. And that means what you've done is hit the point where that's now a better coordination that's more mechanically advantageous
Mm,
is strong enough in their nervous system and supported enough muscularly that they can find it with less help. And
yeah.
you don't have to go, hey, knock that off. Don't do it like that anymore.
True,
Right?
I don't.
They're starting to go, just let me figure it out, Mom. I got this.
Yeah.
Right? You don't
Yeah.
have to be there in the passenger seat. I know how to drive now, so just let me practice.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because I probably haven't ridden for a good 6 months. I've just been long lining, getting back on them and getting some videos, see what we look like.
That first ride, let me know how it goes too, because
Okay.
sometimes it is shocking how much they've changed when you've done
Yeah,
that
like I
much
said, it's
groundwork.
been a while. I've just, really been working on building the hind end and getting more stability because I think that's what Callie pushed me to when she started doing that parking out thing. I'm like, oh my God, I got to change it up.
Yeah.
The riding's not working. Because
No, and I
I'm
think,
not quick enough when I'm riding. I'm not quick enough. I don't feel it soon enough.
yeah.
you
No,
know.
sometimes it helps to work that out on the ground.
Yeah, so I just went, I'm not feeling it. I would get on and ride and be like, oh, I didn't feel that. So I just went to long lining saying, I've got to figure this out without me on her.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I now do you see how you could really use that grass diving to your advantage with her?
Hmm.
Because she is, in order to really use her back muscles correctly, she needs that almost nose on the ground
Finer
posture,
things.
finer
Yeah.
things. Otherwise, she's so quick to drop her back
Back, you're right.
and hold in the neck because she's still not stable there. But the upward and downward transitions, halt, walk, trot, maybe even throw a little canter in the mix, but not to discourage the grass eating, but to use the grass diving to her mechanical advantage. That's really
Okay.
what you're going to get because any horse that develops that sort of sea serpent dragon neck, I go, that's a lot of tightness.
She was in a lot of tension through her neck.
But what I see when she's grass diving is from the withers to the pole, the mane is it no longer has curves in it. It's
Yeah,
straight. So you don't get the
true.
up, down. And that's when you get that connection back to the hindquarters. That's when you've got that whole muscle and nuchal ligament connection all the way through. If they're still holding in the neck, you're still going to get a little bit of a dropped pole or a little bit of a hump in the middle of the neck or
Hmm.
something like that. But to me, those horses, if they grass dive like this, I go, huh, that just saved me about 3 months worth of effort.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let the grass be my working partner on this one. It's not a problem. It can be a working partner.
yeah, we can do that.
But this is very good.
Good.
Yeah, and that rhythm, which is pretty consistent, it's slow, but it's a really that consistency of the rhythm, even as
Yeah,
she's
there's no
diving for
rushing forward
grass.
or halting. It's like they can maintain it.
That is the result of balancing fixing the braking mechanism, fixing the pushing mechanism, and balancing those two forces with every single stride. And so it's just kind of funny that she can still dive for grass and she really does not miss a beat.
No, not a no. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She's all about the grass.
Well, I think, like I said, for her, not so much Cally, there's a tiny bit of her kind of just wanting the sweetness of the grass, but it's a little bit of a defensive mechanism for
Yeah,
her as
I
well.
agree with you completely. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Good. Well, my
I'm
YouTube
happy.
buttons quit working, so I'm going to stop the share. There we go. But that's interesting because like I can't say it. Grass diving drives people insane. And
It's
then,
very tough. You cannot, like you said, you cannot have a death grip on the lunge line. You've really got to
or
be,
the reins. Hmm.
or the range. You've got to be fluid. Otherwise, you're going to get drug.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that's,
every human under saddle does exactly the same thing. Shorten up the reins, grab mane, plant the hands, let the horse kind of hit the
yeah,
bit 1,000 times. And I go, okay, well, now you have a horse that doesn't grass dive, but you've also got a horse in the posture of extension who's upside down, dropping the back.
right.
What do you,
Or very frustrated.
what's
Yeah,
more important,
yeah.
right? And the same thing when we fight with them on the lunge line, it's like it can trigger that same sort of startle response. Or
Hmm.
if we're only pushing them forward and it's getting worse and worse, it's like, okay, that's not the wrong strategy because it worked with Cally, but this is not working for finer things. What else
Right,
can we do?
right.
Yeah.
And that's important. And my horses, two horses are completely opposite in their bodies. Cali come from being too stiff, where Finer Things is too loose in their backs. So it's
Yeah.
it's always finding something different for
No,
each
and
one of
that's
them.
what makes me laugh too, is I go, they're practically almost exactly the same breed.
Well, they're related. Finer
They're
Things is
they're both
Callie's aunt.
Yeah, they're related and they're both
Uh-huh.
warm bloods. And
Hmm.
everybody thinks all warm bloods are the same. And I go, there's vast differences.
Yeah.
There's even massive differences between quarter horses or thoroughbreds or Arabians. I go, each horse is an individual. And there you have heads and tails of the same breed, basically. And they're
Hmm.
both mares. So it's not
Hmm.
like you even have the gelding personality in the mix. It's
No,
like
not
they're
at all.
just so it's so interesting to look at both of them and how you have to approach things differently because their bodies are different. Like how
Hmm.
they use their body is so different.
Exactly. Cool. Well,
All
we will
right.
go onward and upward, and I'll see if I can get some of us riding.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah.
See,
Especially if you haven't ridden in months, that would be really
at
good to
least
see.
6 months, at least,
Yeah.
probably 4 to
Well,
six
the
months.
difference in their physical development is obvious.
Yeah.
Like they've put on a boatload of muscle,
Yeah. And
which
the
is
track
fantastic.
systems helped. I mean, if anybody's interested, it probably doesn't apply in Florida. You don't need it because you don't have a grass problem.
Actually, to save our grass, people
It
use,
might work. That's
yeah.
true. That's
Because you can
true.
kind of have them graze and wear down the grass in certain areas, and then
Hmm.
you use it and move them around and manage the pasture that way.
Yeah.
And I go, it's enough if I get my pasture mowed and everything else. So,
Yeah. It's working. They're building more muscle. They're leaner, more fit.
hmm
Plus they're insulin resistant now, so that's a big deal.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, both of them are. So,
No, and people use it even in dry lot kind of pastures where they can move the hay all over the place. So they're
hmm,
not just standing there eating their hay. They have to move around to
they
get
have
the
to move
hay.
around. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right, my
All
dear, I
right.
have
Thank
finally,
you.
that was awesome and a really good lesson on what to do with grass diving.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right,
All right. See you
talk to you
later.
later. All right,
Bye.
bye.